Welcome to the Explainer. Look, today we're throwing out the swinging pocket watches, we're ditching the stage magic stereotypes, and we're exploring the rigorous, actual science-backed framework of hypnosis. So let's just dive right into it.
You know that feeling when you're driving down a long, incredibly boring stretch of highway, or maybe you're just binge watching TV, and you suddenly snap back to reality minutes later, wondering how you even got there? Well, if you've ever experienced that kind of highway hypnosis, guess what? You've already entered a natural state of trance. It's really not mind control at all, it's just a perfectly natural brain state. Here's our roadmap for today's Explainer. We're going to cover the mind-body bridge, a quick history of hypnosis, the conscious versus unconscious mind, how to bypass the critical faculty, brainwaves and trance frequencies, and finally, the absolute power of rapport. All right, let's kick things off with part one, the mind-body bridge. We're starting our journey inward, looking right at the bridge that connects your conscious thoughts directly to your physical body. We're pulling a lot of today's insights straight from Cherry Farrow's groundbreaking manual, Hypnosis for Successful Minds. And based on her clinical work, she points out something absolutely wild. Your unconscious mind doesn't just store old memories or hold on to bad habits, it literally orchestrates your entire body. It beats your heart, it manages your digestion, it blinks your eyes, all without you having to consciously think about it for even a fraction of a second. Think of neurotransmitters like an electrical circuit that hooks your conscious thoughts straight up to billions of cells. Your immune system is literally eavesdropping on your internal dialogue. When your unconscious mind organizes reality differently, say using new thoughts or images, your body actually responds to that new physiological reality. It's a real game changer. Which brings us to section 2, a brief history of hypnosis. Because to really get how we harness this mind-body connection today, we kind of have to look backward. It's a pretty fascinating evolution from pure mysticism to clinical science. Back in the 1700s, you had Franz Mesmer using actual magnets for what he called animal magnetism. But then, around 1841, a surgeon named James Braid throws out the magnets, notices the power of simply fixing the eyes on a point, and boom, he coins the term hypnotism. Later, the Nancy School proved it's really all about the power of suggestion, not magic. And finally, in the 20th century, modern masters like Milton Erickson and Dave Ellman developed the clinical techniques we use to create real, lasting change today. Let's move right into section 3, the conscious and unconscious. Let's look at the actual architecture of your mind to understand where this change happens. It's honestly like night and day between these two parts of your mind. Think of your conscious mind as a tiny flashlight. It's analytical, it's logical, but it's incredibly limited. It can only process about 7 bits of data at any given time. Trying to fix deep-seated habits with just that little flashlight, it's literally like trying to dig a well with a spoon. But your unconscious? That is a massive floodlight. It's expansive, processing millions of bits of info simultaneously. It's emotional, it's intuitive, and the best part is, it completely believes in the impossible. If you tell the conscious mind to fly to the moon, it says, no way, impossible. Tell the unconscious mind, it just imagines it and takes off. Moving on to part 4, bypassing the critical faculty. Because if the unconscious floodlight is so powerful, why is it so ridiculously hard to break our bad habits? Think about this for a second. Why is it that kids will believe in magic without a single question, but adults fight tooth and nail against making even a small positive change? Kids are like sponges, right? They soak up suggestions without any resistance. But right around age 7, this fascinating mental mechanism kicks in. It's called the critical faculty. By the time you're 11 or 12, it turns into this incredibly rigid filter. It evaluates absolutely everything based on what you already believe to be true. Honestly, think of this critical faculty like a grumpy bouncer at an exclusive VIP club. Its entire job is to keep new ideas out, just to protect your old limitations. If you've always felt anxious and someone tells you you're brave, the bouncer just looks at the list, says, nope, not on the list, and rejects the suggestion completely. So how do we get past that bouncer? Hypnotherapists use 4 pretty stealthy tricks to hand you a VIP pass straight to the unconscious. First, relaxation, just calming the mind down so the bouncer takes a coffee break. Second, confusion, overloading the analytical mind with indirect language until it just gives up trying to figure everything out. Third, metaphors, wrapping a hidden message inside a story because the bouncer loves a good story and waves it right through. And fourth, emotion, using high emotional intensity to completely bypass logic and lock those new, empowering beliefs firmly in place. Part 5, brainwaves and trance frequencies. Because while we are bypassing that bouncer, something physical is actually happening in your head.
We're literally slowing down the electricity in your brain. When we start, we're up top in beta. Those are the fast, chattering 13 to 30 hertz frequencies of your everyday waking life. That is the bouncer's territory. But through hypnosis, we slow things down into alpha, that relaxed 8 to 12 hertz gateway state, where your resistance starts dropping. And finally, we guide the mind all the way down into the deeply receptive theta state. Down there at 4 to 7 hertz, that is where profound neurological rewiring and real emotional healing actually happen.
But here's the catch. You can't just bully a brain into theta. The legendary Milton Erickson said it best. Patients are patients because they are out of rapport with their own unconscious. Healing requires reconnection. Which brings us perfectly into our final section, number 6, the power of rapport. You absolutely cannot force a mind to change. You have to guide it through pure trust and connection. According to Albert Merhabian's communication model, your unconscious mind decides if it trusts someone mostly through nonverbal cues. Check this out. A massive 55% of emotional meaning comes from your physiology, your posture, your gestures. 38% is just your tonality, and a tiny, almost unbelievable 7% comes from the actual words you speak. It's a crazy powerful formula when you think about it. Your physiology, that gets you through the front door. Your tone keeps you in the room. But those words, that precious 7%, that is what actually rearranges the furniture. So you have to build this profound, invisible bridge of rapport nonverbally first, because only when the unconscious mind feels totally 100% safe will just open up and uncritically accept the words you use to create lasting change. So the floodlights are finally on. You know how the mind and body connect, you know the brainwaves, and you know exactly how to sneak past the bouncer. Now that you have the key to bypass your own critical gatekeeper, what limiting belief are you going to rewrite in your unconscious mind today? Think about it. Thanks for exploring the mechanics of the mind with me today on The Explainer.